the second place, then the first place in the groups. And it's just a very terrifying task because we are going to get it to Champ Select. It's going to be Karma, Alistair, and Vladimir banned away on our blue side as the LeBlanc, Maokai, and Jin are taken away. Vici have done their homework.
Yeah, amazing purple side bans. Take the LeBlanc away from Icon. Take the Jin away from the young sniper, and at the same time, don't allow Maokai in the hands of Xiang.
But you do leave through the old Void guy, Captain Malzahar, and he is going to be snapped up first pick there for Icon. We'll see whether Vici have got a way of getting around this.
Yeah, so that first pick is something you do not see lately. Malzahar is a bannable champion, to say the least.
Yeah.
Surprised it came up, but of course, if you're Vici and you're banning out these priority picks for OMG, you just realize you're just leaving up a real strong power pick in the Malzahar.
Well, there is the Brawn to be picked up here by Vici, so still power picks to be gained by this team. Something like the Hecarim could potentially come in as well. But it is actually going to be Kog'Maw. Endless, of course, playing that the last time we saw him on the Rift in their match against Aime, a dominating Kog'Maw performance early. They are going to lock in their bottom lane.
Really good takeaway from SMLZ. Especially since you lock in the Malzahar on OMG's side. If they have Malzahar and Kog'Maw, it would have been a very difficult position if you were a Vici fan, especially if you're a player that you're going up against that. So take Braum, take Kog'Maw, you choose your fights, and at the same time you can protect the Kog'Maw on top of that.
Ooh, Xiang actually looking for the Acorn special in the poppy on the top side of the map, and it's going to be locked in. Powerful pick. We've actually seen it do so much better since the buffs to the W with the extra movement speed and the extra shield added to the passive. You just become basically impossible to damage. Not kill. Normally you say impossible to kill. No, it feels like it's impossible to do damage to Poppy in the late game.
Alice, you know how much I love myself some Poppy.
Oh, do I?
Poppy, we've been seeing it lately now. Of course, it can get demolished in the laning phase. You pick Echo into that. You honestly pick anything you want. Poppy can fall over in that lane.
Oh, yeah.
Fall into some real massive deficits, but once she gets her items, once you get to the later on portions of the game, she does become a massive force. We've seen it out of Acorn. We've seen it out of V.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, it's really impossible or really difficult to address. Now, I can't say impossible because Newbie did lose out with the Poppy pick, but that was simply because they just ran Poppy straight into a victor. And I mean, if you're doing that, you're going to get stunned down.
And also, if you remember the highlight reel that Flandre was able to output on that Echo,
yes.
Especially in the Baron Pits, it was utterly stunning and honestly something that probably shouldn't have happened, to be perfectly frank with you. Players should not be able to command that much, but it is going to be Lung locking away the Trundle on the top side of the map into the Poppy. I do like it. Subjugate away those tanky stats, and that's going to be Dandy picking up the Rek'Sai.
So, of course, now that we're seeing Poppy come back into the meta, Trundle coming straight back, immediately has a lot of pressure onto that Poppy in the beginning of the game. Later on portions of the game, you just shove him in, out-trade him, and once you have the Rek'Sai on top of that, now sure, Rek'Sai does kind of have some problems as the game goes on against the Poppy. Cannot really tunnel in as easily, but that dive, you can tell it's going to happen, especially if Poppy ever puts herself in that far up in the lane.
Yeah, most certainly. As it's going to be the bottom lane locked in here. SMLZ picking up the Twitch, and that's the Tahm Kench for 5. And then we've got a Xerath picked up for Easy Hoon.
All right. This
Second
game,
Xerath we've seen so far in the OPL.
So this is hilarious because the last time we saw that Xerath pick, it was into the exact same matchup.
It was.
Into the Malzahar. Now, I know the concept. I think we saw it out of either Athena or Baimi. I think it was Athena.
It was Athena, yeah.
So Xerath, the concept is that you can poke him out. You can always take down his passive. After a certain item spike, you can always look to bully and pressure him during these tower sieges. But you have a Kog'Maw. The only real lane pressure you have is in your Trundle. So you have to believe that JoyJ has a lot of pressure here. Can really look to impact both bot and mid with the help of Malzahar, shove, and roam.
Yeah, and when will Easy Hoon have the wave clear in order to deal with all of these minion waves heading towards him as well? I mean, that can be definitely dangerous, and we'll see how it goes. Coaches shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 between OMG and Vici. Thank you, Dandy, and we're on to the riff for game number 1 between Vici and OMG. Ocean Dragon going to be our first as we do that wonderful pan. We'll see whether it's going to be standard lanes, of course. 6.14, so still the question mark over whether we lane swap.
That's true. And so Vici, a team, I always feel like they always kind of perplex me.
Yeah.
That's the word. They're a team that you look at their top side of the map, especially since they got Easyhu, and you're like, this team should be in the running of top 2, top 3.
I feel like that's a theme for this evening, given the fact that we just watched LGD.
That's true. All of these teams, a lot of potential. They just feel like they're always under attack. One of these teams just not making it into playoffs.
Yeah.
Undeserved, really, because they really are a force. But, of course, you have to start respecting the early points of the season.
Yeah, where neither LGD or Vici did all that well. And why was it that Vici couldn't really get a handle on it? Because it felt like they were making improvements sort of consistently, but still it feels like it's not coming together every single time.
Well, they are the most consistently inconsistent team. It's like it's not even an issue of one set or one game they'll do incredibly well and the next they won't. It's more so every minute seems to be a different Vici, where you'll see great moments, right? They're a moment-to-moment team. They'll have great moments. You'll see, oh, my goodness, Dandy with an incredible Graves play, right?
Yeah.
And then 3 minutes later, they just lose out, aced, lose Baron, and lose the game.
And it's a disaster.
Exactly.
As Xiang, he's going to die. First blood goes to Endless on the Cogmore as well, and he'll even get some celebratory puppies.
All right. Here's the first.
Just dumbfounded.
Yeah, Xiang, I'm surprised too. What do you do? What is going on here? Here's the first mistake you make. If you're getting contested by both laners, especially by Braum and Kog'Maw, don't contest the camp. Walk away. Take the experience disadvantage because oh my goodness.
Okay, 5. Going to spit out the big wolf. That is going to reset for a long time.
Yeah, but just to finish it off, like honestly, don't greed for those camps, especially if they're committing two people for that.
Yeah, and even Xiang flashed as well. Now the Poppy, possibly something that you can isolate in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that they took the lane swap. The standard lanes would definitely not have been good for the Poppy.
But right now, Vici off to a fantastic start, given the fact that Kog'Maw was able to get the first blood. He's behind him farm. That's because SMLZ spent a lot of time in the lane. It was only 5 that went on a little bit of a mission to try and clear things out. Easyhoon actually with a lot of control here in the early stages. Of course, Icon wants to hit a few levels before he can insta-farm those waves, utilizing those Voidlings as well as the Malefic Visions.
Yeah, plus the early couple levels for Malzahar isn't the best for him. His early Malefic Vision doesn't clear out the first set of minions, so a lot of more auto-attacking for the Malzahar, so he does have to approach the lane. Maybe he's a lot more prone to getting traded on. But once he starts to really get the levels going for him, especially once he gets his first item, he can really start to shove in. So right now it is in Xerath's advantage.
Well, OMG going for a very early dragon play here as well at 4 minutes in. Both turrets followed exactly the same time. Backs come down for Vici. We'll see whether they look to try and take down the next outer ring on the other side of the map, and whether we're going to go back to standard lanes, just a little bit extended. There's a lot of damage actually down on Icon. Dragon falls.
Yeah. Ocean Dragon does do a lot of damage. You do have to watch out for that. So they end up getting it. No worries on that one.
But that's a recurve bow for Endless and only double longswords here for SMLZ. Scary starts for the bottom lanes.
Yeah, I do like OMG's start here because, yeah, sure, right now Icon's getting shoved in. That's a bit of a problem. It's not going to really matter all too much as the lane goes on. But on top of that, the early Dragon, the early Ocean, is going to be incredible for Joy. His clear is going to be a lot more safe. He's going to be getting a lot more HP passively. So Xerath does need to watch out, especially since Gragas is going to be a lot more healthier in his clears. So any point that he wants, he can really set up these ganks.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because we didn't talk about the fact that Explosive Cask into Nether Grasp is the most ridiculous combination. Just grab Easyhoon from underneath his turret, and put that purple beam on top of his face.
Yeah, exactly. That's the level 6, but even earlier, much earlier than that, Gragas' early body slam flash is going to be exactly what they need to just tilt the matchup. And sure, time itself can tilt the matchup where Malzahar, once he starts to get items or just the levels he can start to shove in, but that would be a good enough catalyst.
Let's see whether he can make it work. Icon dodging out of the way of a lot of easy Hoon spells for the moment, but the Xerath relatively comfortable in this lane at the same time, both of them farming very effectively. As OMG will have to wait for another minion wave to crash.
I'm surprised Vici is actually slower to this. They're going to have to actually bring Dandy in for the shove, because OMG, even though they actually got the dragon on their first clear, they come back to the lane and they're able to get this tower far faster. And so it's going to be at the cost of Gragas. Gragas is now quite behind in terms of experience in CS. He did commit himself to that. That's probably the reason why. So Rek'Sai did come in and help out at the end of that. So 7 CS, a few more camps for Rek'Sai.
Yeah, a little bit more for long. Understandably not too bad, as Vici have pulled themselves out to a 1,000 gold lead here at 7 minutes. No problem really for OMG, but we'll see whether they can get their mid-game in order as we head towards it. Serrated Dirk there for SMLZ. Decent initial item spike.
Yeah, he needs to start shoving up this lane. Poppy really needs to, because he is at a disadvantage. 12 CS, which is quite big, and he just immediately got shoved off this wave. So Trundle still sticking around, looking to maybe at least get the experience. So if they do end up matching, if the match does come through in the top lane, Poppy for Trundle, you'd have to think that Trundle is in a good position.
Yeah. Especially when just the matchup itself, pretty good for the Trundle, given the level 6 that is quickly approaching. But it's going to be all about Xiang and his ability to utilize that displacement in a team fight. That's going to be so important.
Yeah.
The ultimate's going to be a big deal.
One good point from OMG is that their lane swap wards have given them a lot of options. So there's a nice pink on the top side, red side jungle. Really good for them, because if they do ever find themselves, if it's not cleared out, first of all, that's great for them, right?
Yeah.
But if Kog'Maw does shove out, sure, OMG do have the option of looking to match and then having Poppy TP in. Right now, they're not choosing that, and they're looking to trade up because that's a massive wave.
Yeah, and actually, SMLZ chucking another pink ward down here towards the bottom side. Xiang can teleport in if they want to go for anything, as inner turret is under fire. Xiang has that wave off the turret just a little bit. You can see Caveman just trying to block autos where he can. And this tower is slowly but surely falling down.
Yeah, they don't have an answer to this. And Poppy has a good enough, pretty much, he just walks up to the wave and Q it. And they don't have the numbers either. So OMG able to out-rotate, out-pressure this tower. And they're even looking to take this blue buff possibly.
Yeah, they do so. Zhuizhui just smites that one away. So Xerath denied that buff. 6 CS behind now as well. Initial backs coming in. We've got Morel and Omicons all round as far as this mid lane. Pretty standard stuff. Zycon now, with this added AP, going to feel a lot better pushing through these Voidlings, doing more damage as well as his Malefic Visions.
Yeah, the first 9 minutes for OMG have been incredible. And just as I say that...
SMLZ! He's going to get munched by 5. They need to spit him out there as well, as the ultimate's not going to be available. He got the ambush in the belly. That is ridiculous. 5 now does have the grey health, and Zhuizhui with the slow on the barrel. How are you alive, SMLZ?
That was so... Well, from the very beginning, SMLZ, don't back there. That's the one piece of advice I can give you, but really amazing save coming out from 5. Plays that out perfectly, and so they don't lose out that kill.
Yeah.
Keep their tempo alive.
No worries at all.
They do have to look to defend this tower, though.
Well, see whether they can get there. You can see Xiang actually had a lot of time bought for him on the top side of the map. Long was trying to deal with that initial movement, and therefore 38 to 31. Turned all the way around for the Poppy. Already has himself the Ninja Tabi, which is just incredibly important against the Trundle at the same time. So feeling comfortable in this lane as Icon gets pretty good Q. over the top of the Xerath.
Yeah, Trundle does have an extra wave, though, so he can look to match up in terms of CS. But regardless of that, as you said, Poppy is in a good position. You do want to look to lane swap in the early game, and they did that, played it out incredibly well. So Poppy actually just avoided the matchup up entirely, and now this is the first time they get to meet up.
Dandy's level 8 to the level 6 of Zhuezhui. Body Slam comes in. Caveman actually taking a fair bit of damage. The barrel is going to be there for Zhuezhui if they want to deliver someone. But it doesn't happen.
That's the price of movement. Gragas was fairly active in this map, able to pretty much always shove out with these waves, getting shared experience, but at the same time, a lot of movement to pressure someone off. Oh!
Well, there's the wallbang. Okay, Xiang has to deal with this pillar now as the subjugate comes in.
Oh,
Munch
loses the
goes down,
shield. That has to be the kill.
Buckler. The ultimate will have to be used. He does use it. Gets the disengage, but 5. He's now in trouble, walking the wrong way. Easy Hoon doesn't find the stun, but concussive blows is going to be there, and he picks it up with an Arcano Pulse, and that is going to segue beautifully into this Infernal Drake.
Yeah, a lot of slip-ups happening for OMG. The fact that somehow Xiang did not die in the top lane is rather incredible for me, but oh, looks like they're trying to look to steal.
Yeah, Zhuezhui doesn't get it though. Dandy locks it down. Nethergrasp onto Endless, gets himself into the pit.
SMLZ
doing so much work. The Cogmore falls down first. The ultimate coming out from Easy Hoon is not quite enough, and look at the Voidlings going nuts in this fight. Lung's in trouble. Xiang gets over the top. The Voidlings don't find the Braum, and it's now SMLZ picking up another kill. OMG lose the dragon, but my goodness, win the fight. Zhuezhui still looking for more.
Yeah, Zhuezhui, could have been easily 2 kills, I suppose, but my goodness. That was a great comeback if I've ever seen one from OMG. They're playing out this early game incredibly well. They make a few mistakes, definitely costed them their initial tempo, but they brought it right back. Go for those team fights, and SMLZ's positioning was unreal.
Flawless. And I thought Endless actually had a really good flash. Got himself into the pit, then sort of just had his pick of the litter as far as positions. Oh, no, that would have been such swag.
Yep. The fadeaway barrel. This didn't come out. Couldn't get it. Not that time.
Well, SMLZ now has his Ghost Blade. Couple of daggers there as well, building towards his Runon's Hurricane, no doubt. Then, of course, the Infinity Edge to follow. We'll see exactly how he decides to build this Twitch, but that would make the most sense to me. Zhuezhui actually picks up the Lucidity Boots just before he goes for the Runic Echoes.
The wave for OMG on the top side of the map is fairly good. They don't have to look to press towards it, so they can look to answer, maybe even look for a fight here if Vici overpress this advantage in the top side.
Actually, Xiang with his Balmy Cinder just happy to stand in this mini wave at the moment. Almost has his Sunfire Cape.
That's great for Xiang, able to accrue that CS for himself. A little bit awkward for the Twitch, unable to really farm up for himself at this moment.
Yeah, and OMG actually checking around this area, making sure no Rift Herald's going down. Buckley gets thrown at this pink ward, and they will reclaim vision. And the only thing I'm thinking right now is the fact that OMG looking tidy in how they're moving around the map.
Yeah, OMG is a lot better now. They may be a last place team, but especially since they're a last place team, they're starting to pick it up. They do know that very soon.
Special delivery. Easy Hoon moves over to the side. I don't find too much as Dandy will get this red buff for himself.
Yeah, I do respect the proactive play there. But yeah, very soon they do have to go up into the promotion relegation tournament, especially if they lose this game. So now it means so much to them. These players, a lot of them.
Ooh, Barrel doesn't find Dandy.
Ooh. There we go.
He's going to get the heroic charge, but just uses Dandy as a bit of a post as he moves his way out.
Yeah, they know they have the Twitch in the top side of the map, constantly shoving out. They cannot afford to press further in these fights.
Ooh, nice backstop there. As SMLZ has even more time to him. Actually throws out the ultimate, clears out the mini wave, will cancel any freeze attempt on this inner turret and deny a lot of the farm.
Yeah, that's a lot of CS that went nowhere for Vici. That was great. Of course, now that you've utilized your ulti, you have to be a smart team and not looking to press a fight while your ult's on cooldown on Twitch. The Rat-a-tat-tat is a really good, well, it's an incredible team fight ulti, so.
Oh, yeah. It's the only way you can really challenge for the Bioarcane Barrage.
Yeah. So it's
range that you get, yeah.
It's a bit of a risk to use that on the wave, especially since you have that teamfight composition.
Well, at the moment, just goes back. Goes on a journey with 5 here towards the bottom side. As Lung, big wave pushing towards Xiang. Did manage to reclaim the CS lead, did the Trundle. But Xiang now, like you mentioned before, big wave heading towards him. He's just going to comfortably farm that one out.
Yeah, Xiang has been catching a lot of these waves coming towards him. That's been incredibly good for him. He's able to often keep up in CS with the Trundle. So he's never having to really deal with this matchup.
Yeah, which is handy.
Yeah, and so as he starts to get items, once he gets I'm not too sure if he's going to go Iceborne, but he's definitely going to be going the Sunfire guy. Yeah, Sunfire, Spear of Visage. Just go as tanky as possible, especially since the new patch really empowered his HP scaling.
Yeah.
So if you go for that, the shield that you get with your passive is so much larger. So then once he gets those items, honestly, I think he can start really looking to press up against Luong. He can look to start to skirmish, fight up against him, because he can take a lot of damage before he starts to really feel a bit scared.
Yeah. And especially when he can pick up his bucklers as well. If you can actually get that shield, the Subjugate going to be doing far less work, because instead of eating through health bar, it's actually just eating through shield. Have a little bit more control mitigating that situation. But it is going to be very important for Lung to get that ultimate on the Poppy, become an unkillable force in these team fights. One thing I do love is the combination of Lung and Easyhoon.
Yeah.
When we get to team fighting phases, just because of Easyhoon's ultimate, the fact that it has such high range, the turret, the pillar as well, such high range, but also slows people down, makes sure that they are all in the same position as Easyhoon getting collapsed on here by Zhuizhui and 5. Dandy might be the next target, gets slowed down, but just some Malefic Visions, nothing much more.
They're just using Tahm Kench ult on cooldown, perhaps trying to get a pick on the Xerath. Xerath does have a massive target on his back. Easy kill to look towards. Very immobile, literally, once he presses ulti, actually. So
and has to use both summoner spells in that last engagement as well. So
that's
OMG
true.
Looking for Infernal Drake number 2 to augment their Ocean. Of course, Vici did manage to pick up the first Fiery Dragon.
Giving up Fire Drake. This is really, really risky now. Xerath is a pick that he can look towards those team fights, start to look towards those sieges, and his poke potential, especially once he starts to get armor, magic penetration, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
He will start to do a lot of damage and impact and really solo pressure SMLZ off of every fight. But especially since there's Tahm Kench, who can honestly save SMLZ at every turn.
It's a good pick into it.
Yeah, Tahm Kench is really good into Xerath, and on top of that, he feels like at every point, Flash has to be burned whenever those picks come off.
Well, we'll see whether he's going to be able to get that summon spell cooldown back for himself. Move into a winning position, because right now OMG look to have control of this map. Free Dragon, they've got a lot of vision around here as well. Dandy, of course, with a lot of tunnels, but the map seems pretty dark for this Vici roster. Xiang actually trading quite effectively, but now 20 CS down once again as he's answering the push one more time of this Trundle.
Yeah, and so going back to the Poppy pick, it's been coming up a few times. I know Spawn has mentioned that there's no real value to Poppy ulti, right? Because especially if you can get those 2-man ultis, knock them back, right? Your value pretty much comes down to what the enemy value is, the opportunity cost of what you're really utilizing your ulti for. Whether you're going to use it for an incoming wave, you ulti to just siege up and, I mean, pretty much deny the enemy siege. Or in the team fight where you just blow away their tank line or blow away their main damage threat. There's a lot you can do with this Poppy. Poppy can be as influential as she wants to be.
Well, we'll see how Xiang's actually going to utilize it, because we've always spoken about this guy as being a very good peeling tank player, especially in late game team fights. And that is something you can certainly use Poppy for. You mentioned her versatility. I have a feeling that that's going to be the direction that Xiang's going to go.
Well, she's incredibly annoying once she gets to the mid to late game section. Very easy to deal with in the laning phase, especially since the Trundle is going to constantly pressure her.
Yeah.
But once you get to the team fights, we've been seeing teams just outright ban Poppy against Acorn. and they just don't want to deal with the champion, especially in these skirmishes. If you're a team that's completely aggressive, honestly always looking for those fights, especially since you're playing either Jin or in this case Kog'Maw, look at this. Like, it gets really annoying the moment your shield is able to just tank up so much damage. He took 2 tower shots. Didn't do that much.
Yeah, 3 tower shots. He's still at basically full health. Doesn't get the heroic charge as there's the subjugate out of Long. Xiang says, well, I'll just happily disengage.
Now, this is a problem because Luong did have to expend his ulti for that. Any engage that comes on, any team fight that goes forward, Trundle won't be that effective.
Especially only level 11, doesn't have a lot of CDR. It's only 10% now with the Sheen. So not able to have that subjugate off cooldown as quickly as he'd like. But we'll see whether any fights are actually going to be attempted here by OMG, because there's not a lot to fight for on the map with that Dragon down and Baron not necessarily being the priority. But if we're going to talk about Baron, I feel like OMG quite well prepared.
Yeah, they are. They do have a great amount of team fights. They're a team that do play around these objectives, or just they play around their strong team fight and carries. They're a team that know their roles very well. Which, that being said, talking about roles, Vici, in this composition, they must know their roles fairly well, because if you have Kog'Maw and Xerath, I think their lives just need to be protected at all costs.
Oh, yeah.
And the Trundle, but if they ever have a lead, here's the beautiful part of this. If Vici ever have a lead, or they're pressing or looking, they force the enemy team to defend. The Xerath Q on top of Trundle Pillar, and there's just so much poke.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed poke.
The Arcano Pulse, phenomenally large range, is Long fighting a Baron. And has to be a bit careful, goes down to half health, but is going to survive at least.
I'd challenge that Baron too. Can't be that big.
Go get it. It's going to be the Rabbidan's Death Cap to be picked up by Easy Hoon as item number 2. Not quite there yet, and Icon has the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. So big deal pickups for our mid lane. And I was wondering whether Zhuizhui was going to do this, and he did. He went for the dash cannon on the Gragas.
That's what I love about Zhuizhui.
Always aggressive.
He's such a massive playmaker. In Game 3 against RNG, when they ended up winning, it was based off his Lee Sin play.
Yeah.
He is a prime Lee Sin player. You give him that pick, and I guess he's just going to aim straight for, I guess, whoever he aims his Q on, and then he just flies around the map, finds
and
easy
you got like double body slam now. With
That's
the dash
true.
cannon body slam.
You kind of wish that you can body slam and then dash cannon mid body slam, get the extra.
Yeah.
That'd be an amazing mechanic.
Also be pretty ridiculously hard to deal with. There's Abyssal Voyage coming on the bottom side. Good heroic charge there as Long just can't move anywhere. Five's going to eat him, SMLZ's going to shoot him, and Icon's going to kill him.
The massive pick squad, but you do it at a massive cost. You better start rushing towards this Baron, because Vici's looking to threaten it.
Oh, look at those pings. Actually, Vici realizing that they don't quite have enough time to get it done. And Icon now behind this minion wave. We'll start shoving it through. Zhuizhui eats some tunnels, and all of a sudden, OMG have the inside track on this inner turret.
They do. They're out-pressuring them at all points now. Xerath ulti.
Yeah, ultimate has to be expended there from Icon as 5. Just eats SMLZ. Another minion wave comes in, and this tower falls down. OMG, fantastic play. The ultimate actually coming out as Dandy looking for the flank, but OMG do have an exit strategy. Moving down as 5. We'll get past this Dragon Pit. Dandy still flanking them off to the side.
Yeah, Dandy better watch out. If he ever walks too far forward.
OMG just going from objective to objective. Teleport's coming in from Long. They will be able to lock down this dragon as Zhuizhui grabs it. Good ultimate from Xiang as Dandy. He's the one
Down
picked off. Xiang's going to fall as Endless picks up a kill. Massive damage coming out of SMLZ as Five's going to eat him up. Good body slam from Zhuizhui, but look at Endless's damage onto the backline. Icon does have his flash, needs to use it there as well. And OMG get out with a tower, 2 kills, a dragon, and they lose 1.
I'd say that's worth.
I'd say.
Yeah. So, my goodness, OMG is playing an incredible game right now. They're recognizing, here's the most important thing. They recognize their position. It's a simple point, but they utilize it so well.
Yeah.
Go towards that mid lane if the mid lane tower is free. Go towards the dragon since they know they have the inner track. It's efficient movement, and that movement is giving them these fights, the proper positioning to really utilize their team fight advantage.
Well, it's not giving them a gold lead is a problem here, as 400 gold is the advantage for OMG. It's good farming coming out of Vici. Dandy farming up exceptionally well in the early game. And now we're hitting item spikes on the side of Vici as well. I mean, you've got the Wit's End, you've got the Hurricane, you almost have the Ginsu's Rage Blade for Endless. Rabadon's Death Cap has come through for EasyHoon. He's got a cheeky little book there hanging out at the same time. Like, these are big spikes now for Vici.
Yeah, that's been the problem with OMG, is that they're always looking towards these team fights, and perhaps it's because that's the only way they can really get these gold leads. They're a team that we just saw RNG clean up a game without actually looking for those fights, actually looking for those team fight to get the gold leads. OMG right now, whenever they pressed forward for vision, sometimes they would get caught out. And so they aren't a team that's the most, I would say they're not a unit, a formed unit right now.
Oh, Vici, of course, dropping the ball a little bit as well. Lung not able to defend his inner turret. He's going to go for free in favor of OMG. Dandy, back at this Baron pit, does get it angry so that it spits at Juejue a little bit. Now Icon wants to grab his blue buff. And as far as scaling is concerned, I mean, do we even give it to either of these teams? I know, of course, Xerath, with the fact that he has 4 damaging abilities, pretty phenomenal as far as the late game is concerned, can say stay safe. Kog'Maw needs no introduction. Trundle's huge, but you look at Malzahar, you look at Twitch.
Exactly.
OMG scale pretty fantastically as well. Poppy also.
It comes down to execution 100%. If Poppy can get her plays, sure, that would be amazing. But you have to look for the assassination. You have to look for the burst down from OMG, because Vici, they 100% have the sustained damage advantage. You have the Kog'Maw, you have the Xerath. If they both go untouched, if they live long enough to press forward and output damage, they will take the fights. You have to be afraid, especially if you're SMLZ. His HB bar can get demolished by EasyHoon alone.
Yeah.
So if they can assassinate EasyHoon, if they can burst him down, if they can get Icon to honestly move in, flash ulti, then that's all they need.
Well, Icon's in trouble. Does get exhausted now as well, as he's trying to do what he can, but the ultimate's just barreling on top of him. Caveman picks up the kill. Endless going to pick up the minion wave. Now with that pick, Vici looked to actually move towards the Baron pit.
Yeah, Icon is a major point for their composition. If they don't have Icon, SMLZ cannot move as forward as he would want to. So it really does come down to Seong at this point. If he can get a proper ulti, if he can turn this into a good advantage for his team, then sure.
Well, 5 actually has to get himself out of there, uses the flash. They get away from the Baron. Xiong has teleported in already.
He's lost his ghost, though.
This is dangerous. Juejue is here. It is going to be potentially a 50-50.
It's all on
Barrel
Seong.
Comes in. 5 comes down. Caveman's in trouble. Juejue still looking for the steal. Ultimate as 5 takes down Caveman as well. Endless dies, and OMG will pick up this Baron at the same time. Dandy can't get in there. The Prince of Thieves unable to take it. Juejue locks it down, and OMG turn it on its head.
They hand it over to OMG. You have to know what Poppy does. It does not matter that Malzahar is off the field. You know what Poppy can do as a champion. Just watch him.
Spin the helicopter, Xiong.
It's the helicopter. He's not the one flying away, though. It's going to be Long and Dandy off the map.
And they are exactly the ones you want out of that pit, especially Dandy. No smite available until the very last second, but OMG took hold of that Baron pit and demanded that victory. And I believe Icon even got himself a Baron from that one as well, having respawned just in time.
Yeah, probably. It just really comes down to the point that Vici need to know how to deal with OMG's comp. If you're going to go for Baron, you have to at least not bring your jungler to the outer ends of that pit.
But look at this. OMG now get the inside track. They get the flanking vision now on this top lane inner turret. That falls immediately. There are massive minion waves moving towards this inhibitor turret. And EasyHoon just obliterates the majority of them. I got excited about the size of that minion wave, and it was all of a sudden extremely small.
Yep. That's a lot of wave clear coming out of Xerath and Kog'Maw. So it feels as if OMG, they have a great team fight comp. They need to they need to continue to team fight to get these leads. Sieging will not be a luxury that they can go for. And with Poppy, it would take far too long. Perhaps with a couple Barons, perhaps they can look the lanes to pressure, split pressure. But they just need to keep going back to these objectives. Dragon is coming up. Maybe that's your answer.
Yeah, Cloud Drake is going to be there as 5, going to be able to deliver Xiang right into the middle of this lane. Dandy gets wallbanged immediately as the Arcano Pulse is there, but Xiang has to use his ultimate now defensively. Dandy going to get Nether Grasped and destroyed as the Rek'Sai does fall down, but the wave clear is still there. OMG get a pick, but can they actually touch this turret is the question. The answer looks to be no.
Yeah, that was really scary from OMG. They got locked down. They could have gotten demolished by the Kog'Maw, but they were able to get one pick, walk away, but you still can't siege. You still can't walk up to the turret. Your issue is Easy Hoon. And they tried to get him, unsuccessful at it.
Yep, still. But OMG now, like you mentioned, grab the objectives that you can. The Cloud Drake is going to help them move around this map a whole lot faster, and they will also take it extraordinarily quickly. So you may as well. It is going to be SMLZ that picks that one up. Double Cloud as well as that Infernal Ocean. And that is 50 extra movement speed, so actually starting to stack up to quite an amount out of combat.
Yeah, not the most helpful dragons that they would have wished for, but they're still useful, and especially since Elder Dragon will be coming up, that is going to be the one they'll have to look for. With how many dragons they got earlier, the stack is going to be incredible.
And the safety that they have as well when they're taking the Elder Dragon, when they're taking the Baron, with the fact that they have the Voidlings to tank it up, is so important. Just feels a whole lot less dangerous as Icon gets back-to-back blue buffs.
That's true. But
what a greedy guy.
They need to. This is going to be a little scary because sure, the value of Dragon and the value of Baron it's pretty valuable. To be redundant.
Yeah.
It has a lot of value, but you need to watch out.
Oh, Dash Cannon comes in here. Good body slam as he gets ulted through his pillar. Subjugate comes down to Zhuezhui. Can Lung actually hold on for long enough is the question, but Abyssal Voyage says no. SMLZ has the damages. Icon says nope, you ain't getting through here, and the Rat picks up a kill.
You kind of have to get flustered when you realize your 1v1 has turned into a 1v2, 1v3, and a 1v5. Everyone joins that party.
And now everyone on Vici have to go back because OMG pushing this minion wave towards this turret.
It's still not enough.
How do you siege a Xerath? Make sure the Xerath isn't there. But of course the minion wave unfortunately isn't either. So OMG, unfortunately, not going to be able to get that siege.
Yeah, they either have to look for that team fight while the Trundle is down or just completely back away.
Arcano Pulse not used on the minion wave as the helicopter does come out that's looking for Dandy but doesn't find it, but the inhibitor turret does fall down. Ultimate here for Easy Hoon trying to get the bullets down. It does manage to get Icon's shield, but no damage from the entire ulti. Good Arcano Pulse. SMLZ gets tagged. Lung now has respawned. No ult for Xiang, who's now right in the backline. Endless free to auto-attack. They managed to find Caveman. Icon locks that kill down, but Zhuezhui is dead. Oh my god, SMLZ going ballistic in the backline. That's a triple kill. He eats the Kog'Maw, does 5. That's the Quadra. And OMG going to take down Vici in game 1.
That looked really scary, but they demolished Vici Gaming. That is game. Not only is OMG thrilled, but man, LGD have to be happy.
There's a sigh of relief in the LGD camp, no doubt, but some beautiful play out of OMG. And honestly, there's a sigh of relief, but LGD's final game is against this team.
Oh, yeah.
And this team could claim their their 5th place, their safety.
Exactly. If there's one team you cannot count out, it's OMG. OMG they pretty much took that game from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
They made Vici feel like a lesser team.
They made Vici feel like a team that couldn't make map movements.
Yeah.
They made Vici feel like a team that were late to the party, to the majority of those team fights, the actions around them. It was just incredible out of this OMG roster. We are going to see some more examples of it. I mean, something has to be said about the fact that Icon got Malzahar, but it was execution.
Yeah, it was. It was 100% execution. It really came down to the fact that, of course, if you bring Xerath into this composition, if you bring Xerath into the game, you have to be a little bit worried. You have to start looking to protect him. But it's very hard to do so, and OMG recognized that, and they preyed on that.
And look at 5. Lung teleports in and just gets munched.
I mean, 5 and SMLZ played this game so incredibly well from the beginning to the end. SMLZ, whenever he was ever threatened by Xerath ulti, whenever he was threatened by any pick, from that miraculous pick that happened in the bottom side of the map, he just swallowed him up, carried him to safety. SMLZ came back to the fight, washed the fight away, as you saw in this fight specifically. Quadra kill for him.
Just incredible.
This bottom lane from OMG is showing up to be a first-class bottom lane. First class.
And that's exactly what they need to be as well, because they're given so much of the resources from this team. So really good to see SMLZ living up to his name as a carry for this team. But we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, game number 2 between OMG and Vici.